Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, and today we're going to cover several funds: SOXY, CEPI, and GIAX. We're going to do all three funds in one video. So let's talk about this. SOXY came out from YieldMax. I give it a minus to an A, actually. I can understand why people would want to actually buy this fund. And Brad, why are you saying that? Because you know that I normally don't give too many recommendations to YieldMax. And that's because I looked at the underlyings. They have 25 companies. I tend to like how they have it weighted, although they're a little bit heavy on NVIDIA, but I like the rest of the funds that they actually hold. I mean, I actually like the companies that they hold. So I got to sit back and say, this would be something I'm interested in. I am going to wait. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I am not jumping in. I'm going to wait, but I can understand why people would want to buy it. If they can do 12%, and so far it looks like they did cover calls and call spreads on the fund, and they seem to be about 6% out of the money, so they give you opportunity for upside growth. I'm sitting back and saying, this might be something that you choose or choose not to buy. And I would fully understand somebody buying it. That's the best part. I don't give recommendations, like I said, to YieldMax very often. But this one, I might actually say something you should consider. If I go look at SOX, S-O-X, which is basically what they're mirroring, although they're weighting slightly different. 1 year, it actually beats the S&P 500, just barely. 3 years, they're just under, but okay, we went through a downturn in 2002. But if I look at a 5-year chart, clearly they're beating the S&P 500. So you sit back and go, is this something you should invest in? I'm currently going to say no, but it is on my radar. I like upside growth. I can understand somebody wanting a little more risk because it's only 25 stocks. Buying something like this because there's more upside potential. And trust me, you're not going to hear Brad say, oh, that's a bad investment. I'm just going to wait to see how they actually do over time. I'm actually trying to keep my amount of funds down, but I can understand somebody holding this. It meets my requirements if they actually pay what they say they're going to pay. And looking at their calls, I'm going to say they will probably pay what they say they're going to pay. So congratulations, YieldMax, on a fund that might actually be a long-term hold and buy that I could actually recommend, even though this is not financial advice, legal advice, or accounting advice, but you know the deal. I just wouldn't jump in right yet, but I can understand people that do, because if you like YieldMax, this might be something that you buy. Just saying. I just think that they're trying to turn, and this might be a fund that might be appropriate for, those investors looking for total returns minus 8%. Now, CEPI from Rex Shares. I was so excited. I mean, I was beyond excited about this fund and fund coming out. But I always wanted to see the underlying. Unfortunately, I now see the underlying, and I go like this. I put my hands out, and let's look at the underlyings together. Let's go ahead and let's do that. Coin, MSTR. Okay, I give my thumbs up to both of them, right? Robinhood, okay. Marathon, yes. Tesla, yes. Clean Spark, yes. Riot, yes. Core Scientific, yes. Visa, oh, nice. PayPal, okay, that looks good to me. MasterCard, I'm in. Nvidia, who's not into Nvidia? TSM, good. Micro Technologies, hey, another one. AMD, good. Iris Energy, got it. IBKR, got it. And you, okay. I'm just going to say okay, but I get it. Square. Square holds Bitcoin. I get it. They're also payment processes. Rimbus, I had to look that one up myself. It's a smaller holding. And okay, it's into semiconductors, get it. TeraWulf, I know who they are from my mining experience. I'm in there. FI, great. Cypher, I know who they are. Bit Digital, I'm like, okay. And then I get to the last one and I go, WTF. That's all I could say about the last one. I know it's less than 1%, but I'm sitting there going, what did I miss in this? This is supposed to be a cryptocurrency. Maybe they're doing something I don't know about, but Overstock.com, they bought Bed Bath & Beyond. Maybe they're going to make a turnaround. Maybe they're getting into cryptocurrency. Maybe they're doing something like this. But I just went like, okay, that one just shocked me. That one just shocked me. Maybe they're able to sell calls and make a lot of money on it. I don't know. That one just, I went like this. I don't know. But I feel that this is something, if you're into cryptocurrencies, you might want to hold. I don't know what the distribution that they're going to get, but it looks like it's going to be pretty high. Looking at the stocks that they're buying, this is probably going to be a high yield. Clearly a high yield. And I looked at their calls. Their calls are significantly out of the money. So there is a lot of upside potential and growth, but these are going to be highly volatile. Besides maybe Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Nvidia. I mean, I look at this going, it's almost a semi-balanced in how they did it. But again, if you're a coin or a MSTR person or you're into mining, this might be something that you look at. I don't know how I'm going to play this. At this time, I am going to sit here and say, I don't know. I don't think Brad will be investing. I think that maybe if he does, he'll take some of his Misty and take 20% of distributions and buy something like this for a longer term hold. That's a maybe. I just don't know. I just throw my hands out when I saw that overstock in there. And that's just me personally. But again, if you're into Bitcoin and into these cryptocurrencies and want something that's going to pay high yield, Rex Shares has done a pretty good job. I cannot see, I was not able to find the index to see any past history of the index and how the index has done. So that kind of concerns me also. So maybe in a week or two, after I think about this a little bit more, after I see the holdings, maybe I take some of my Misty distribution, maybe I take some of my Nvidia distribution, 20%, and build something like this out. But right now, don't know. I'll put this one on hold for right now. Now, GIAX. Some people have asked about this. I personally have had an email conversation so far with them, just back and forth a little bit on email. Looking forward to talking to David Nichols from actually GIAX, the fund manager, and we'll see how that goes. But this week, they did not write calls on the Russell. They wrote call spreads on the NASDAQ. And what I also noticed, and I'm going to give them an A plus on this, because they were writing them on the Russells, 1% out of the money, and then they would have a gap of 1%. So it actually had to go through there for you to have the capital appreciation. So that was a big gap. But they wrote it on the NASDAQ, and the gap this week is less than 0.25%. That is a good move, because if the NASDAQ goes up 1%, they're going to capture it. If it goes up 2%, they're going to capture 1.75 of that move, or really 1.8 of that move. That's huge, because it used to be the Russell would go up 3%, they would only capture 2%. So having that narrow call spread is a good sign. And I'm glad that they are looking at which index they can get their 0.5% a week and how close they can get those spreads. So they get an A plus on that call spread this week. I still hold them. I only have a 1% allocation to them. After seeing this, I am debating. I think that I want to narrow down my funds. I think that I will probably start growing this fund out more and make it a larger percentage over time. And I do believe I'm going to drop SPY T to do that. Even though SPY T is a great fund, don't get me wrong. Just because I drop a fund does not mean it's not a great fund. I am just trying to get my holdings down so I don't have 400 funds. Literally, somebody said, I don't understand your message the other day in Coney. It meets your requirements. Why don't you hold it? Well, there's 400 funds that meet my requirement. 400. You expect me to hold all of them? No, it doesn't make sense for Brad to hold every single one of these funds that he talks about. It would be impossible. I mean, Steven has 82 funds. How do you keep up with 82 funds? That's craziness. He's retired. I'm retired. But 400 funds? That's not even physically possible to be able to know everything about other funds. And lastly on that conversation, I would really appreciate not asking about a master limited partnership that nobody covers on Seeking Alpha, that is so obscure that nobody has any clue of what it even is and what it does. But I get these random questions. I take it. Brad has a whole research team. Like, Brad has 50 people working for them. If you have questions about random master limited partnerships, please contact a financial advisor that has hundreds of researchers, knowing that he can press the button and tell you everything about that fund. I just don't have that capability. My research is I go to Seeking Alpha and look at it and say, what does some of the authors say, especially authors that I respect, and I can give you a synopsis. But when you ask about a fund that literally nobody has ever written an article on this fund, what am I supposed to do? Do the research for you? Come on, that's not even a normal ask that somebody should be asking. Do your own research. And if there's no coverage in something, that's a sign that maybe, just maybe, you don't want to buy it to begin with. Don't know, but that would be my suggestion. Anyway, until next time, God bless.